Hello and welcome to my Starcraft 2 journey. I am Jamie O'Flynn, otherwise known as Human Fishboy. I am the biggest, I am the fattest, I am the best. And today, I shall, in the words of Day 9, learn to be a better gamer. What I've done today is I've had more than 5 matches, but only 5 of which were focused on learning to be a better gamer. And I am working on my refinement and adjustment in order to better win matches without just losing and dying and crying and flying and other such wonderful things. So I'm starting out with a PvP. That's Protoss versus Protoss. I'll show 3 matches today, wherein I do roughly the same thing each match, though I take note of what I did wrong each match and try to fix it for next time. Now I've changed my build from the previous videos. In previous videos I tried to sort of go for a 2 gateway cybernetics core robotics facility and tried to build a force of stalkers and immortals and things like that and expand and all of that good stuff, but while that seemed to be an excellent build if the enemy just left me the hell alone, it was pretty difficult to be in a position of strength from an early moment, so I've changed it to 3 gateway into a robotics facility in which I will then scout and try to attack. I'm going to try to put on early pressure. In my previous matches I've sort of sat back and macroed and gone in when I've been on like 200 supply, but as I have learned, just letting your opponent do whatever the hell he wants all game is a bad thing. Because if he happens to micro better than me, or come up with an army that is just plain better at killing my army than my army is at being my army, then he's going to win. So, as you can see, I scouted this expansion with my observer, and I decided to go in for the attack, try and keep him on his toes before this expansion can get down. In the meantime, the idea was I'd put down an expansion of my own, and this attack would act as a defense while I was expanding, because obviously he wouldn't be going in to attack me while this was happening to him. So I don't intend to kill him at the moment, I just intend to put pressure on, and obviously this is going a lot better than I thought. I seem to be demolishing his army. He has pretty much nothing up here, and this is very weird. I obviously didn't know he did this when I was playing it, because I can't see what he's doing, but he's building a second Nexus here for no reason at all. I don't know if he thinks he's Terran and you can just lift the Nexus up, but no, you can't. He's building that Nexus there. It's going to be there forever now. I don't really understand it, but I'm going in for this attack, and I've started to expand. Now, as for what I'm doing wrong, so far it's just basic macro issues. If we look at the production, I'm not keeping up with my probes. I haven't put this Nexus to a hotkey, so I have no idea how it's doing. Not bothering to make sure the gas is ready. My money's quite low, which points to good macro, but sort of basic mistakes I'm making just means that I'm not doing as well as I could be. But that's not a problem, really. I've shut down this expansion. I've now retreated to the middle and sort of reinforced, and yeah, I'm just checking to make sure he didn't take any other expansions, and now I'll just keep an eye on things, and the idea is that I'm just going to keep on building my forces, get my tech up, get everything up, just keep macroing, get more bases. And with this observer I'll keep an eye on what he's doing, and if he starts to expand... he got his own observer in so he could see mine. So yes, when he starts to expand again, I'm just going to keep the pressure on so that I can do what I want to do with impunity. Obviously at this point I've pretty much won. He's got nothing. He's got that weird Nexus that's not doing anything, and my army's much bigger than his. So this looks like a total victory, but I went back, I watched this replay, I got a word pad opened, and I was like, what went wrong? Why did it go wrong? What can I do in the future? And obviously, the only thing that really went wrong with this one, just my macro at home. I mean, I got this expansion up quite late. There are just things I could be doing better, things I could be doing tighter. So that's what went wrong with this one, and he leaves the game without a GG, and that always seems to happen whenever I win. No one seems to enjoy losing to me. So I did 5 matches, but I'm not going to show you all 5. I'm going to show you 1, 3 and 5. And if you're thinking, did he lose 2 and 4? No, 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 I only lost 2. But I'm not going to show you 2 because I'm just not. So match 3, we've been going for my build for 2 matches now. And so I'm trying to improve it. Now, he's a Zerg, and when I'm against Zerg players I wall off rather than just building my base, because I believe if those Zerglings get in, they can wreak havoc. If I'm able to sort of wall it off, it slows things down. In theory, anyway, I've still never managed to survive against a 6-pool or an 8-pool rush. But that's just something I'll have to work on when the time comes. So let me just have a look at what I can see. So I'm scouting, I notice I'm under attack, all of this good stuff. Now, as far as I know, what sort of went wrong here... I don't know, I'm doing okay. Sometimes in some of these matches my macro slipped a little bit when I was too focused on scouting, like on these big 4-person maps. When I find him I'm desperate to try and figure out what's going on. I can occasionally... early macro can suffer, and early macro is arguably the most important macro. So I think the only thing that went wrong here is I'm just not doing anything as tightly as I could be. Yeah, there you go, probes not being constantly made, all that stuff. And they're being made frequently, but not constantly, and that will make all the difference when it comes to getting better and better at this game. So we'll fast forward through this. I'm just trying to do my thing. Oh! You'll notice he went in with some Zerglings there. Looking at the bloodstains, it looks like he went in with about 6. Luckily I had the forces here to deal with that. So I'm getting my 3 gateways. Everything looks to be under control. I'm at very low money. Still getting things done. Soon that'll be finished, and then I should go into Warp Gate. There we go. And I'm still making sure my pylons are okay, and that's all very good. It's all very good. Oh, here we go. He attacks with a rather large force of Zerglings, which I don't handle very well, because I just sort of threw down a random force field when they weren't even trying to get in, and left those 2 zealots out to die. So this wasn't the best micro on my part, and that's definitely, I could count that as a thing that went wrong. When the Zergs attacked, I just freaked the fuck out and probably didn't do as well as I could, but managed to reinforce, and they've run away, knowing that I could just blast them as they try to go down that thin choke. That's done. How's my money doing? Oh! Oh, and even through all that attacking I managed to make sure to remember to build my robotics facility. Aren't I good? So I'm reinforcing my army now with a sentry and a zealot, and 2 zealots and a sentry. Sort of your basic anti-Zerg force. Let's speed it up again. And obviously rushes with Zerglings sort of get less and less effective as they go. Now let's have a look at what he's doing. I've got my observer out, so I may be able to see what he's doing soon, but what is he doing? No, everyone. There we go. He's got a few drones. He's got 19 drones to my 28 probes. So obviously he's going for some kind of rush play, or maybe he's just not very good. He's going to get some banelings as well as his Zerglings. And obviously this this match is going pretty well for me, whether because who I was playing as wasn't very good, playing against wasn't very good, or just because I held that initial attack off beautifully. We may never know. So my money's starting to climb. I've got quite a bit of gas. I could probably do with getting a few more sentries, but I'm not really worried about that at the minute. Let's go back to what I can see. So my observer sort of spots these Zergs coming, but I'm not scared of Zergs anymore. I've got a good ball. What are we doing? Oh, and I've built a Stargate because I've noticed he's only going for Zerglings. That seems to be the only thing he's making, so if I just make something that can fly, I win. Oh, and I've just remembered why this match is interesting enough for me to bother to show you. I make quite a huge mistake soon that makes everything pretty scary. So I'm carrying on producing zealots, making sure I've got void rays coming. I think when I've got 2 void rays, sorry about all the blah, 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 blah I'm doing today, And again, if what's going wrong here? I could point out that I'm not making more probes. I should have far more than 33 at this point, so I've got 2 void rays, and now I think I'm going to go out for the attack. My observer saw Zerglings run by earlier, but they haven't met us yet, so we don't know where they could be. And now I'm going to expand as I attack, which was what I decided I was going to do, what I decided was a good idea. So I move off to attack, but oh my god, look what he's got there that I just walked right past. So I decide at this point, you know, by the time I run back, he'll have done so much damage. I know he can't have much of a base because he's just been committing to Zerglings and Banelings all his time. Let's make this a base race, and no one ever really wants to be in a base race. The object of a base race, if you don't know, is that while they're destroying your base, you destroy their base. Whoever completely annihilates the other's base first wins. So he's just eating up my stuff, my poor old probes. There's nothing I can do. I'm now supply blocked. I can't make any more units or anything. Just have to go all in with this. This is my only hope. Obviously, how I could have improved this if I had just stayed back with an army of this mixed in with Void Rays, knowing that he only had ground armies. I would literally have been impossible to kill because my Void Rays could have just killed all of these with impunity. So I should have stayed back, scouted with my observer, sort of kept building up, knowing that I was at an advantage. Remember, as Artosis said, when you are ahead, get more ahead. I sort of forgot that advice this game. I was like, I'm ahead, let's go kill him as quickly as possible. Just in case he miraculously transfers from an ineffective rush to somehow having a better economy than me. It wasn't going to happen, I was obviously going to win, but because I moved out, I now have only 3 buildings left. He's ready to build. Who's going to win? Who's going to win? It's me, because that was his last building, I do believe. Yep, so this was victory for me. I still had buildings left, he had nothing, but that was a far closer match than it needed to be. So let's just quit and go into the final match. I've forgotten why this was an interesting match. Oh yes. So this is the enemy. I'm blue, the enemy is red. First of all, see if you can spot what went wrong in this match. There's my pylon, I begin scouting. Building up people, and yeah, an assimilator before a gateway. My brain just sort of wasn't working at that point. I realised my mistake immediately. It's like, oh dear, and then I decided I wouldn't mine from my assimilator yet in order to simulate the experience of having built this later. Obviously this is a really bad thing. I mean, if the enemy was going in for a rush, that would have just been the end of me completely, because it's taken me so long to get an army-producing structure. And, yeah, I'm blue. I'm still doing better than him in terms of workers, but his base is better than mine at the minute. He's done things in the right order. So that was a pretty worrying thing. I'm making sure to get some defences ready all the same. Of course, these are far later than they could have been. All of this is now far later than they could have been because of that. Am I still scouting his base at this point? I don't know. But anyway, yeah. So, let's look at the units. He's got a slightly bigger army than me at the minute. I know I've still got the bigger army and the more workers, so that mistake probably isn't going to cost me too much this match, although it very easily could have done, so that's something I shouldn't do in the future. He's building up this very nice defensive position. I don't usually wall on Protoss versus Protoss, but then, given the amount of times I have died to Zealot rushes recently, maybe I should consider it. So he's got this wall. I'm going for a more open, relaxed sort of build, and as per usual, what's become standard, I'm going to scout to see if he's got an expansion, and if he has got an expansion, I'm going to go kill it. But this will pave way to another bad thing that happened this match. Let me just find my observer. Oops, sorry. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how you follow units while replaying, so I'll just have to do this manually. So here's my observer going to scout. This is, again, he's a lot later than he could have been in terms of time. But he's got an observer, he immediately sees my observer, and I'm dead. So what I've decided was a bad thing, was to try and scout front first, going into back. I should send my observer somewhere here, go around the back so I can have a good look at his base, because he's unlikely to have detection around the back yet, unless he's very paranoid. So I could have had a better look at what he was doing, and then gone to see if he had an expansion. And even had I died, I would have seen what was going on, and I could have better gauged whether I was ready to attack. And I've only just now started to attack because having that observer killed immediately shook me, but yes, 10 minutes is probably late to attack. You'll recall in match 1 I was attacking by the 8-9 minute mark, which is still a little bit late, but this is even later. And as we've established, he has a very good defensive position. I do not, so I go in for my attack. Let me look at the units. I'm blue, so let's look at what I've got. Yeah, our armies are roughly comparable in size, but because of his defensive position and his ability to get a good surround here, he's winning. And this is another thing that went bad for me. If I find that he's in a better position than me, I should have backed off, tried to bait him out into the open. If he didn't follow me, then that's fine. My army survived, and I know I can't crack him yet. If he did follow me out, then I would have just been in a better position to attack. So now the tables are turned. He's scouting me. I've got the smaller army. I'm trying to build up, and at this point, I honestly think I'm going to lose, because obviously, if you lose early engagements like that, it becomes important later on. But never give up, never surrender. I'm just going to keep trying to build, keep trying to macro up. I get another observer there, so I spot that observer and kill it. Remembering to keep my tech buildings built. I'm going to go for Blink, because Blink will help me if I ever find myself in a bad position like that again. I can teleport out. I mean, obviously I couldn't have expected to have Blink for the first attack, that would have taken ages, but oh, we've missed something. Let me see if I can go back. So yeah, everyone cam. Let's go faster. What's this on everyone cam? This is a warp prism, which is how the Protoss do drops in the back of your base. So I do not spot this warp prism. He goes around me perfectly. I may have spotted it then, I'm not sure. I wasn't really looking at the minimap. And bam! He's got warriors in, and they're gutting my mineral line. And it takes me a surprisingly long time to twig what's going on. Now, level, this is the thing that went wrong, and how I've decided I could possibly fix it is that since I had my army waiting at the front, I could have probably done with sticking a cannon or two here. They're not that expensive. Going over the top with cannons would have been a bad idea, but just sticking one or two would have definitely helped. So now I think I'm in an even worse position, because he's killed a lot of my workers. Fortunately, I seem to have been macroing better than him, so I still actually have more workers than he does. Let's look at the income. Yeah, I even have more income than he does, although not for gas. He killed all of my gas miners, and I haven't noticed yet. Another thing that went wrong, I should always check these things. I've got my army back at the front. I've got a cannon now, and he's going in for the third expansion. Obviously, he's in the position I'd like to be in, just keeping the enemy on the ropes and expanding. That's what I would like. But I realise that the only way I can sort of get ahead is to expand again. So even though I'm not in the strong position, I'm going to try and macro anyway. And you'll notice he's bringing his army here, and he's got this. And let's go to my cam. Nope, my cam. Look at this mistake I make here. My army, and by proxy me, spots this warp prism, but obviously, really, I don't spot the warp prism. I wasn't paying any attention. And so, even though I saw it, it'll be ready to wreak havoc whenever it wants to. I go for attack, and I notice, oh my god, he's got an army outside. So I get in here, ready for the big engagement. He's trying to force field. Bam! Blink! I get myself into a possibly better position of going in, and I'm winning this attack. But what's he doing here? He's attacking, and this, I will note, was here for ages when this attack was going on, so I could have seen it, but I didn't notice it until my guys were dying. So that's the thing that went wrong. Should always pay attention. But luckily, because I had this new expansion nearly done, I'm just going to move them all there. The enemy doesn't know about this. So it's not too much of a loss, really. And I win that engagement, so I go into clean up here. And let's look at production. My money's a little high, and I'm not yet rebuilding my probes, so that's a bad thing. I should be working on that. These are just general macro issues I need to get better at. So I've got my army, I've won, sort of standing around for a bit. I don't know what's going on. My money's quite high, his is low, but you'll notice I'm higher on supply. And I do realise that, at this point, I realise I did defeat his army quite easily, so he should be low on army right now. But there's no telling how well he's macroed, so I can't really afford to just sit back and when you're ahead, get more ahead, because he might already be more ahead, so I kind of have to go in for this moment. So my stalkers go in, they blink back when I realise they've got there too soon and they're being attacked, so start the big engagement. His zealots run up front. So this attack happens, my stalkers blink to safety, which probably not the best idea, because I just sort of let my sentries take all that, but still, I'm winning this for all his advantages throughout the game. He just didn't macro as well as he could have done, so the advantage ended up not being as big. So, yeah, I'm pretty much just going to win this now. So, those are the matches I've been doing today. I've just been trying to get better at my general build, not changing anything radical, just making, and yeah, so not the best example of play, but I'm getting better. Anyway, thank you for watching, and good night.